bootleg podcasts, made for everyone, by anyone. You are listening to The Rating is Right, a game show podcast based around the movies you love and their ratings. Think The Price is Right with a lower budget, less Bruce, and no prizes. Introducing your host, Ian Crow.
It's the rating. It's the rating. Rating. It's the rating. It's the rating.
Hello and welcome to episode 12 of The Rating is Right. So before I introduce my co-host, let's just explain how this is going to work. Quite simply, my co-host will be guessing the ratings of a series of films, including whether they are higher or lower than the previous one. They'll be getting 1 point for a correct guess of higher or lower, an additional point for whoever is closest, and a whopping 3 points for anyone lucky enough to guess the rating bang on. The winner at the end of the episode will have the honour and privilege of giving a recommendation of a film that takes their fancy. Now that's sorted, let's meet my co-host. He's the current Christmas champion. It's Owen Cox.
Hello, Christmas champion here.
Christmas champion.
I've made it my New Year's resolution to win every single episode this year.
I think that is possible. And I just might add to that as well, 2-time Christmas champion.
It's like the only 2 episodes he wins ever.
That is not true.
It's a big fucking deal. Owen won an episode. Where's my crown? Where's my fucking crown?
Well, look, Owen won his first episode last year of 2023, which is the Christmas one. We're now in 2024, so Happy New Year, everyone. So this is now time for Owen's one win of the year.
Can I just point out that any time an episode is themed or is an event, George loses. He's lost both Christmas specials and he lost the guest special.
That is very true. Well, I was about to get onto that actually, because Owen, because George has only won one of the last 3 episodes. He lost the last one, which is the Christmas special. No, wait. That was in episode 11. Sorry, he hasn't won the last 2. He's on a winless streak of 2 episodes. Is that right?
A winless streak, also known as a losing streak.
Losing streak. Yeah, George is on a losing streak of 2 episodes, which I believe. Maybe, I don't think that is the longest you've gone on a losing streak so far. But is that concerning for you, George?
I'm not concerned at all. I know my strengths, and I know that it isn't Christmas. It's just everything else. It's not Christmas, and it's not films that Zuki is obsessed with. It is just everything else. So I am pretty confident that this bald fucker isn't going to get another win unless he plays it out.
There's 2 of us bald fuckers here, George.
Yeah. Let's also remember, I was going to interrupt before you started. I also won the last episode.
Did he?
Yeah. Convincingly. I won by like 8 points.
Nonsense. Never. It's lost.
I mean, I'm surprised you had 8 points because none of you knew the fucking films. So I thought it would be like 2-1 or something. The lowest score in episode we've ever had. But before we move on, as it's the new year, we have been listening to the listeners, you guys who listen to our podcast, which is very nice of you to do so. And we have made some changes. Only a slight change to the podcast, and that is the how you guys announce your predictions for the film. So instead of asking one of you to give your score and then going to the next person to stop the hootenanny of just going one above or one below the other, we have scrapped that. We are now getting you to write your scores down beforehand and committing to a score, which I think makes it a lot more exciting. Personally, Owen has got a question.
What is a hootenanny?
I don't know.
It's what Jules Holland does every New Year's.
I don't really know the true meaning of hootenanny.
I think he meant shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
I think shenanigans. Tomfoolery shenanigans.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
My excuse is that I've been...
Oh, you're taking away the tomfoolery?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, boo. If anything, we should be incorporating more tomfoolery.
I think this could be an advantage for you because I do believe that George has benefited from the old format. So
I think this is going to benefit Owen massively.
If it doesn't work, can we revert back to the old style and just forget about the 3 listeners?
Hey, we're on 560 total downloads.
I was
Pretty good.
also about to say that is, I want to say another big thank you to everyone because we've hit over 550 downloads, which is amazing.
Thank you.
And just a quick shout out to everyone who did take part in our first ever giveaway. It's probably our most successful post that we've done on Instagram so far. And a big congratulations to Adam Baldwin, who is an avid listener of the podcast, for winning the T-shirt. It is on its way at some point.
Yes.
Admin / George needs to get that sorted as soon as possible.
I have one more day off work. It will happen tomorrow.
Right. Okay. If it doesn't get to you, Adam, within the next couple of weeks, you can blame George for that. And if you want to send a firebomb, I'll give you his address. Right. So we know the rules now of how it's going to be going forward. Everything else is exactly the same. So would you like to know what the subject of episode 12 is, boys?
Yes, please, Ian.
Okie dokie. Owen, would you like to hear?
Owen's just on his phone.
I sure would. I was scribbling on this bit of paper there.
This is the downside of this new rule. He's got something else to be distracted by.
Well, so episode 12, so this is a first for the podcast so far. We are reaching out into the other side of the gender, and we have a female actor for the podcast.
About time we had some inclusivity.
Exactly. It's only taken us 2 years, but we're there. We're there now.
Yeah.
So we are going to be exploring the films / movies of Emma Stone.
Ooh.
I mean, I thought I'd go Emma Stone purely because I believe she is loved by everyone. Everyone likes Emma Stone. And I feel like she has a really strong filmography. So let's get started.
Isn't a film just come out?
Yes, so she's got a new film coming out, which is, I believe, out in America, out in the UK mid-January. Poor Things, which is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who did Dogtooth, The Lobster, The Favourite, all those movies. That won't be on the list today. So let's get started. So the first film on this is the mid-2000s classic comedy film Superbad. So, before we go any further, boys, write down your score of what you believe Superbad is rated on Metacritic, and then let me know when you're done.
Done, Daddy.
Daddy, chill.
Daddy, chill. What the hell is even that?
Can we just point out, is George using a pen or a pencil?
Pen.
Can we see your...
I'm using a handwriting
Can we
pen
see that?
from school.
Okay,
wow.
go.
Look at that. Okay,
Good one, Zaya.
Let's go with the Christmas King first. Let's go to Owen. What score have you gone with for Superbad?
I've gone cautiously. Now, we all know comedies never get their flowers. They get good reception from the audience, but critics are usually a bit tight on their scores because you can't really give a comedy a 10 out of 10. It's reserved for films like The Godfather and stuff like that. I've gone with a 76.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that's about as high as critics are willing to go with a comedy.
Okay.
Wait,
Would you agree?
You just said comedies don't get their flowers, which is a saying I know. But
I like that. I think that's a great saying.
It's a lovely
I like
saying.
that. Yeah.
I'm going to save it for all the dumb kids that I teach. You're not going to get your flowers, but you can write your name.
Take none of them a list.
Yeah, but then you've got like, oh, they never get, and you've got up into the 70s.
Yeah, but
yeah, because 76 isn't super high. I mean, it's like, oh,
it's pretty high.
That's super bad. It is quite high, but I feel like that's about as high as they're willing to go with a comedy.
Fair.
I feel like that's the peak of a comedy score.
okay.
Fair.
A good film, a great film, usually is in the low to mid 80s. I feel like 76 is about as absolutely like the ceiling for comedy movies.
Okay. Well, we'll soon find out, Owen. So before we get your opinions on it, I just want to hear George's score as well. So George, give me your score for Superbad.
So I went for way lower than that. I went for 51.
Oh, okay. So it's quite a big difference from you two then.
Yeah. In my head, 50 is like straight down the middle. That's your average film. And anything more than that is seen as positive in the critics' eyes, and anything less than that is seen as negative, like maths works. But yeah, so I think it's slightly better than average.
Right, well, I'm going to throw something out there, and after that, we'll talk about Superbad as well, so I feel like this is one that we have all watched. So before we do that, one of you is spot on, but we're going to move on. I just want to throw it out there straight away. So let's talk Superbad. I just want to make it so we're a bit kind of excited. Someone's got it spot on. But I'm not saying right now. I don't want to say it. I'm changing things up this year.
Oh my God, if I've got that spot on, my analogy was perfect.
Yeah.
So,
No
Owen,
flowers for them, but they do get.
So, Owen, you've gone high in George's words. So, is it one of the greatest comedy films of all time?
I'd say for the 2000s, yes. For me, I do really enjoy it. I do think it's funny, but it's not. I mean, it is an all-time classic, but for me personally, it's not.
Okay.
I get why people put it so highly, but for me, it doesn't hold the same weight. I do find it funny, and I've seen it numerous times, but there's a lot of other comedy films that are above it for me.
It started this run of like coming of age teenage comedies, trying to like get alcohol and go to a party before you go off to college and your last hurrah and stuff like that. And I think it was pretty funny at the time, but looking back on it, I think no one would watch it now and go, "It's sublime."
Yeah, I get that. That's pretty much what I was getting.
If would you think when watching Superbad that about 5 years later, Jonah Hill is nominated for an Oscar for Moneyball? I don't think anyone would ever think that 5 years later that he would be nominated for an Oscar, which is crazy. But that Superbad is the kind of film that propelled the careers of like Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, Emma Stone, obviously who we're talking about in it.
Jennifer McLovin.
Yeah, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
In Kick-Ass as well. And he's popped up here and there. So I think it is a film that's had a lot of kind of unknown-ish people, but really propelled their careers further. But personally, I think it's one of the better comedies in recent times. Definitely in the 21st century. It's up there in the top 10 best comedies.
Do you think that only worked because we were about like we were like the perfect age for that film?
Yeah, teenagers.
Yeah, I was 15 when that film came out.
Well, exactly.
So yeah, perfect
much
age.
Bang on.
Yeah. Definitely, I think a generation has a big play in it, because if you see people who may be born in like the 80s or 70s and then watching stuff like the National Lampoon films in the 80s, they would say that's like the pinnacle of comedy. And they wouldn't like necessarily the comedy
Monty
of now.
Python.
Yeah, like Monty Python. They all have like a generation of people who think that's the best. But like I said, I grew up watching these films, like the Seth Rogen stuff. I thought it was always great.
We need to remember the critics are not our generation. Although
No.
they might be actually, because we are 30. So
Can I say, the millennial comedy era is the 90s. It's the Adam Sandler films and the Jim Carrey films. That's our bit. Because I feel like Gen Z would watch them films and be like, what's funny? I feel like comedy moves with the times, doesn't it? And now we don't understand it. We watch things we don't understand. And we're old.
That's very
and we
deep.
go, I just don't get it these days.
I know.
So I'm actually
Bloody
quite surprised.
TikTok.
I honestly thought that you two would be waxing lyrical about Superbad, saying, it's one of the best comedy films and that it's like really enjoyable, but you kind of been a bit like, oh yeah, it's all right, not like amazing, but it's good kind of thing. So I'm a little bit surprised. But so just want to mention as well, obviously we are talking about Emma Stone, maybe obviously not the main character in the film, but still has quite an important kind of feature and role in it. And might add as well, this is actually her first major film credit, and I think it's quite rare for someone to have like a big major credit as their first ever feature film, and to have something like Superbad, which is, I think, kind of culturally and kind of financially quite successful at the time, and is still watched by people now. I think it's quite impressive to have that as your first film. Owen had a question.
I've got a point, and I just looked it up. McLovin was also in Role Models, wasn't
Yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
which came out in 2008, which I would argue, controversially, is a funnier film than Superbad.
No. See, I wouldn't say that. That is
no, yeah,
slander.
I
Take that
disagree.
back.
It's a good film. It's a good
I refuse
film,
to tell
but I
them.
would
We
say
are going to
Superbad is definitely
get
better.
hate mail. To be fair,
Good. At least someone will be
I was going to
emailing.
say any kind of mail is better than none.
Right, let's quickly move on.
Stir the pot.
I did mention a little while ago that one of you had got it spot on. So before I announce who that is, it's actually been a long while since someone's got a spot on in the first one. How does it work? Would that person just get 3 points, everyone get 0?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, okay. So
Yep.
one of you will be taking a 3-0 lead after the first round.
Actually, no, that doesn't. No, that's a silly idea. Because
No!
normally someone gets 1 point and the other person gets 0, so it should be 2 points.
I don't want a
No.
pity point. I'm happy to take 3 or 0.
Yeah, 3 or
No,
0.
as in it should be 2 or 0 because normally you get 1.
Yeah, but it's a
'Cause
spot
then
on,
you've
though.
from a 1 to a 3.
Spot on.
They're
Look at
never
George-
going to catch up.
Do you not know the rules?
George, this could be...
Have you not seen Istanbul?
It could be me, but I don't want Owen to be out of it.
Meow.
What are you gonna cat?
Yeah, that's a pussy. That's just my way of going.
I know you're new to the world of football, George, but there was a game in 2005 in Istanbul,
Right.
which was 3-0 at half time, and one team come back to win that game. I think you need to channel that energy if you're 3-0 down.
Okay.
That's
If
the
if
biggest,
This is
though,
the way
isn't
you
it?
want it to go. This is the way you want it to go.
So
Go for it.
George and Owen have both agreed that will be the case. That whoever gets that spot on will take the 3 points straight away. So the person with the spot on score is Owen Cox.
No.
Whoa! So Owen takes a very healthy 3-0 lead from the first round, which I think is not really happened that much ever. So we'll move on very quickly because George is hurting. So the next film on the list is Zombieland. So, George and Owen, go write your scores down. So this time we want higher or lower, and your scores, please. So Zombieland, for people who haven't watched the film, this is a synopsis. So a shy student trying to reach his family in Ohio, a gun-toting bruiser in search of the last Twinkie, and a pair of sisters striving to get to an amusement park join forces in a trek across a zombie-filled America. So kind of an action comedy. It's also starring Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg. Right, so boys, do you have your scores and predictions for higher and lower? I'll take that as a yes. So let's get the scores from you both. So George, let's go with you first. So do you think Zombieland is higher or lower than Superbad?
On 74?
76.
76. Bullshit. I'm gonna take those digits and swap them around. I'm gonna say it's lower on 67, which I think is quite high, but I love this film.
Okay, so lower on 67, and let's go, Owen. What have you gone with?
Weirdly enough, 66.
Oh, wow!
So we've beat ourselves at our own
Where's
game.
the proof? Damn.
There we
Alright.
go. Okay, right. I like that. So, George, you said that you love this film, so let's go straight to you, boy. Tell us your thoughts on Zombieland.
Now, I love every zombie film. There's not a zombie film out there that I haven't loved. But I think this is a really clever move in terms of taking something that's been done to death with all the days and wars of the dead and all sorts, and being like, cool, what's popular at the minute? Teen comedies. Take teen comedy, shove it in a zombie apocalypse. Take Jesse Eisenberg, take Emma Stone, two like well-loved young actors, put them with Woody Harrelson, this like seasoned veteran of film, and just let them go on a fun romp through the film. Is it based on like a graphic novel or something?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Because
but
you know,
I
like
think-
all of the like kill of the week and that kind, and all of the rules that he has, it makes it seem like it would be based on something like that.
Yeah, I think it's weird because not kind of far from when this came out, you had Scott Pilgrim as well,
Yeah,
which has obviously like is obviously based on a comic book and has like the flashes of stuff that you would expect of how a comic
please,
book
Ian,
would look.
we like them to be called graphic novels.
Oh,
Comic
fucking-
books.
Owen, are you fucking hearing this?
Yeah,
Are you
I'm
fucking
sorry.
hearing this? No, he's in his own little world. Of course he didn't fucking hear it.
What's that?
Sorry, graphic novels for children. As far as
And they just called comic books.
that's what I said. So George
Trying to make himself seem like an adult.
are the Marvel films adapted from graphic novels or comic books? Are they graphic novel heroes or are they comic book heroes?
See, I still call them graphic novels, even like Marvel stuff.
You'll say Legos for adults next.
Lego is for adults.
You'll say Lego's engineering.
I mean,
Lego STEM.
I mean, maybe.
Playing with Legos and reading your comic books. Get you a fruit shoot.
Get me a Capri Sun.
Capri Sun? A Capri?
Capri Sun?
Capri Sun, yeah.
Sorry.
Preson's what middle class people call them.
Oh, okay. That's why we don't understand, Owen.
Yeah.
I just want to throw out a little interesting fact to you guys as well. Maybe I don't know that people know, but Abigail Breslin, who is Emma Stone's younger sister, at this point in her career, she was already Oscar nominated.
Is that for Little Miss Sunshine?
Yeah, Little Miss Sunshine.
Another
So yeah,
great
the
film.
fact that that someone so young in a movie like Zombieland has an Academy Award nominated actress in Abigail Breslin before Emma Stone and Jesse Eisenberg might add, which I thought was quite interesting. But as far as I'm aware, George, it's not based on a graphic novel. As far as I'm aware, but please do let us know if we are incorrect on that.
Please,
but
somebody give us the interaction on our social media.
Yeah, come on, send us a message. But no, I do agree with you, George. It's very inventive, Zombieland, and I absolutely love watching it. I wouldn't say it's like a guilty pleasure because I always say it for films that I think are not that great. But Zombieland's that kind of perfect 1 hour 30 movie where you just put it on, you'll enjoy every moment of it, and you're never kind of tired of watching it, no matter how many times you've probably seen it in your lifetime. So we've got your score. So Owen, have you watched Zombieland?
Yeah, once. I don't really remember it too well. I thought it was Michael Cera, and then I heard you say Jesse Eisenberg. I went into it with like really, really, really high expectations though, so I feel like I sold myself a dream before I watched it. So I was kind of come out of it a bit deflated, but it was good. It was all right. I mean, it was fine.
So, so before we go any further, just a little quick trivia. I think we all know that Woody Harrelson enjoys smoking, and he was actually arrested on the first day of filming Zombieland for possession of marijuana. So it put back shooting by day. Not a massive impact on the shooting schedule, but I thought that's quite an interesting little fact to throw in there. So let's go to your predictions. So George went with 67 and Owen, funny enough, went with 66. So you've both gone with lower. So you're both right with it being lower, not as low. The closest one would be George. So Zombieland is on 73. So George gets the 2 points for that one.
Fantastic.
And Owen gets the 1, which makes it 4-2 to Owen. So we'll quickly move on to the next film on the list, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is Emma Stone's kind of first leading role in Easy A, the 2010 rom-com. So let's get your scores written down, boys. So if you don't know this, Easy A is based on the character of Olive, who's basically a kind of a clean-cut high schooler who relies on the school's rumour mill to advance her social and financial standing. So it's kind of like the kind of film that I think you probably feel like you've watched quite a lot. But if you haven't watched Easy A, I thoroughly enjoy Easy A. I watched it for the first time last year, I believe, and liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. So I think we've got scores on the board. So let's go to Owen for this one. So Owen, give me your score for Easy A. So do you think it's higher or lower than Zombieland on 73?
Lower. I've gone 44.
44, okie dokie. So what's your reason behind that?
I honestly thought this was Cameron Diaz. What one's Cameron Diaz? The school teacher one?
Bad Teacher?
I thought this was Cameron Diaz, if I'm being honest, this film. Easy A, yeah. Never seen it, never heard of it. My only recollection of it was thinking it was the Cameron Diaz film, which it isn't, so I haven't really got anything else to say.
Top quality film analysis there by Owen Cox. Thanks, Owen. George, I need you to. I've got a feeling you've 100% watched Easy A. So if that is the case, give me a rendition of the song that is played by Natasha Bedingfield. Let's hear it.
I got a pocket full of sunshine. I got love and I know it is all mine now. Oh wow! I just love the bit where, because so Owen, you haven't seen it, so you don't know. She gets a card, and whenever she opens it, it sings a song, and she goes, "I got a pocket, I got a pocket, I got a pocket." It's great. It's a fantastic film.
Yeah, great song. So yeah, George, you have watched it. So tell us a bit more about it, because, like I said, this is Emma Stone's kind of first leading role, coming off the back of Zombieland and Superbad, which are both very, very successful. Would you say this is kind of one of the first films where you recognised her as like a leading actor, someone who could kind of do a lot more than just being like a side character? Or was this not one where you kind of discovered her for the first time?
So I think on the back of Zombieland, watching this one, I was very much... This is the first, like, Emma Stone... You realise who Emma Stone is as a person, or at least the one she portrays on screen. And I think it would have been really hard for anybody else to play this character, because the character is very Emma Stone, in that they're quite, I guess, like, sure-headed, but also awkward and socially inept at times. I think it's a really good film. One of the standout moments is she has a black adopted brother, and she talks about it openly at breakfast one day, and Stanley Tucci... Oh no, the brother turns around and says something about being adopted, and Stanley Tucci, the dad, turns around and goes, "Who told you that?" being white and him being black. It's really good. It's so good.
I think you kind of like encapsulate it quite well, because I knew of Easy A. It took me so long to finally watch it, but I didn't expect it to be so funny. Because I think normally those films, they kind of go down the trope of not maybe being so funny, a bit kind of cheesy, off the mark. But I feel like it's very on the mark. It's very clever. And like you said, kind of moments like that make it quite memorable. I didn't actually take your score, George.
Did you not?
not.
See, I personally, I'll give it more than this. I went lower, and I went to 59.
So it's 159. Okay, right, perfect. Okay, thank you. Do you have anything else you'd like to add on Easy A before we move on to the reveal of the scores?
You should watch it, Owen.
So
might watch the Cameron Diaz one just to start.
We're talking about Emma Stone. Maybe we could do a Cameron Diaz one in the future. But this is Emma Stone, the amazing Emma Stone. So you've both gone lower, which you are correct. It's only one below Zombieland on 72. So George, again, is the closest. So takes the 2 points. So George is now on 4 and Owen is on 5.
I'm coming for your crown, Christmas King.
You are literally...
Well, it's no longer Christmas, so that doesn't count.
You're literally that Joe Biden meme, George. I'm coming for you.
I'm coming for you.
So next film on the list, which I personally think is a really, really good film, is The Help, the 2011 movie The Help. So let's get you boys to write down your scores. For people that do not know what The Help is... So an aspiring author during the civil rights movements of the 1960s decides to write a book detailing the African-American maids' point of view on the white families for which they work and the hardships they go through on a daily basis. Also co-starring the amazing Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, Bryce Dallas Howard and Jessica Chastain. Won a single Oscar as well, which was for Octavia Spencer for Best Actress in a Supporting Role. So, George, let's go to you. Let's get scores on the board. The Help, what are you going with?
I went for 86, and I ummed and ahed and went back and forth, but yeah, 86.
86, okay. Owen, let's get your score as well.
My score is 80.
80, okay, so you've both gone...
He looked like he was writing
higher.
Up until the very... I mean, you could have literally just written that.
Just showing proof on camera, so for the listener.
Wait, let's see that again.
I will not be accused of cheating.
It says 55.
Yeah, it says 55.
Yeah, I wrote 55 originally, and then I thought about it. As I was thinking about it, I remembered it was the Viola Davis film, and I remembered that's thought of very well. I thought The Help, it didn't register with me initially what film it was, and then when Ian was giving his synopsis, I thought, that's going to be way higher than 55, so I switched it to 80.
All right.
This was before your score, though.
All right.
Way before. Look, I wrote 80 higher. Look.
Yeah, fair. All right. Interesting.
Okay, right, let's go to George then. Have you watched The Help?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
I
fantastic.
know I should have, but I haven't. I think I know a scene in it, though. I think... Is it something about dog shit in a cake or something?
Yeah, it's a really, really... Oh, it's probably the most well-known scene in the film. I don't want to say too much in case people haven't watched it and would like to see it, but it does involve dog shit or shit and a chocolate cake. I'll leave it to people's imagination as to.
It's not a comedy, is it?
No, but I mean it's rated 12. It's very much a kind of light. It's a film that obviously deals with a lot of serious issues, but in quite a light-hearted,
I hate those kind of
kind of a
films.
light-hearted way at times. So it's not one of those like kind of heavy Schindler's List type of films where you're not going to get a laugh. There are moments where you laugh and it's feel good.
Moments of wholesomeness and light-hearted breath.
Oh,
a bowl of wholesomeness and seriousness. That tastes great to me. Emma Stone at this point not nominated for an Oscar. Jessica Chastain was nominated, Viola Davis was nominated, and Octavia Spencer was nominated. So not Emma Stone at this point in her career, but only a year after Easy A. So another kind of major film in a very short space of time. Owen, have you watched The Help?
No, but it sounds to me like Emma Stone was on a hot streak at this point in her career. I reckon La La Land is next, and that is some trajectory.
Has she ever stopped? I don't think so. I don't think so.
I've not seen any of her films, so I couldn't tell you.
I mean, both of you haven't watched The Help, which is...
She stopped after Superbad for me.
The Help is based on a book. So if you like reading books and like to read books before watching films, do that. I've heard it's really good.
I'm glad you gave the listeners permission to read the book first. You're like, if you want to read it first before you see the film. It's like, thanks, Ian. You are a good egg.
Thank you. Some people are like, I'll watch the film first, I'll read the book. But I know some people like to read beforehand. So, like George said,
you weren't
have my permission.
One or the other. You weren't suggesting one or the other. You're saying you can. If you want to do this, you could do that. You could just take a shit before you watch it.
I tell you could take a shit while reading the book and then watch it on your phone at the same time. Whatever you want to do. If you don't watch the film, I don't really care either. But give it a chance. Right. So we'll move on from that for me telling people to read the book. So a recap on that. So George, you've gone 86. Owen, you've gone with 80. You're both incorrect. It's actually lower than Easy A. It's on 60.
Oh, it's not 55,
it's on
is it?
62. So you weren't too far on your original guess.
Sake.
So no scores there. So that was the halfway point.
So an Oscar-winning performance,
and also nominated for Best Picture as well, might I add as well,
didn't get it any bonus points with the critics. What is the point of the Oscars? That's bad.
Yeah, so four nominations in four of the biggest categories apart from Best Actor are there, and it's only the one for Best Actress in a supporting role for Octavia Spencer. But yeah, 62 on Metascore, so I think that just goes to show that the critics don't always love the Oscar movie picks. So we will move on to the next film, which is her next film the year later, the reboot of Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, with Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. So get your scores written down for that one.
Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker and Emma Stone as Emma Stone.
Hey, there we go. I don't think people really need a synopsis, but this is the rebooted version. So this is after the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. And this time...
Better than the Tobey Maguire trilogy.
What? What?
Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a great film.
No, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, let me just say, is not on this list, but that is a dog shit movie.
No, it isn't.
It is.
And I watched that at the cinema.
I did too.
And I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I think only that's the reason why you're not allowed to rate movies anymore. That 8 out of 10 for Amazing Spider-Man 2. Jesus.
I gave it an 8 out of 10. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I didn't like the first one so much. I wasn't massively keen on this one.
You preferred the second one to the first one?
Yeah, the second one was absolutely brilliant.
Oh my
groundbreaking,
God.
even. And that's not a Gwen Stacy pun. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I got berated on Facebook for it.
Fucking
I've written
wonder.
Facebook status
I think
saying, I've just seen Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it was amazing. 8 out of 10. And the comments come flooded in. People were like, you need to get tested for a head injury.
I was literally about to say, I think I'm going to start a fundraiser for a lobotomy for Owen, because that is shocking. That is so bad. But I can't because it's all about Emma Stone
I
right
was
now.
interrupted.
I can't.
My score.
I don't like the Tobey Maguire ones. I'm
Well,
sorry.
this is the reboot one, so a few years after the end of the Tobey Maguire trilogy, and he fights the lizard in this film, and he rides a skateboard. That's new. Peter Parker's cool.
And he's a photographer.
I mean, he's a photographer in the Tobey Maguire films as well.
Yeah, but he's a creepy photographer in The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Takes photos of Gwen from afar.
Oh yeah, because Uncle Ben's like, "Hey, that's that girl. He's got pictures of you on his computer."
Yeah, that's my Spider-Man.
So that is the reboot. So personally, me and George think this is a very good film, but clearly Owen doesn't. So let's get your scores on the board. Owen, let's get your score for Amazing Spider-Man. Is it higher or lower than 62?
Lower, 44.
Ooh.
44. Okay.
I always go with even numbers.
George, let's get your score.
I've gone lower as well, but I've got my personal opinion has swayed me. I've gone to 59.
59. Okay, so just a little bit lower. Okay, right. Owen, let's get your thoughts then. Reasons why. I don't want to hear about why Amazing Spider-Man 2 is better. What are the reasons why you don't like the Amazing Spider-Man, so the first one?
My score is based on what I think critics would think. I wasn't mad about it. I thought it was just mediocre. The second one I really enjoyed. I wanted the third one with they set up the Super 8, didn't they, at the end?
Sinister
8?
Sinister 6.
Sinister 6.
I'll tell you what, though, the
who's
Super
the
8 sounds
guy
better,
who
though.
plays,
Yeah.
yeah. Who plays Harry Oswald in The Amazing Spider-Man?
Dane
What's his
DeHaan.
name? Zane
Dane.
DeHaan. He's not been in anything for years.
Dane, yeah.
Dane DeHaan. Was it Dane
Dane
DeHaan?
DeHaan.
D.
God, that's
I
hard
mean,
to say.
Dane
DeHaan.
DeHaan was in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Was he? There was a lot of people in
Yeah, that's to be
Oppenheimer,
fair. A
and
lot
I
of people. I think the whole Hollywood was in that. But yeah.
Yeah.
What's Huey? Huey from The Boys. What's his name? Jack
Quaid.
Jack
No,
McQuaid.
Jack Quaid. He's the son
I
of,
didn't realise
son
he
of
was in
Dennis
it until I
Quaid.
looked at the cast. He also recently said he's not a nepo baby, which is hilarious. I mean, he's a good actor, but you get legs through doors by being connected to people by blood.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend that you
Exactly.
don't. The first one is Stephen Merchant, the lizard.
No.
The guy looks like
Reese
Stephen Merchant,
Ifans.
doesn't he?
If fans, yeah.
He looks like Stephen Merchant, big time.
Or does Stephen Merchant look like Reese Ifans?
Good question.
That is a really good question.
But yeah, this one, I mean, if the next round is The Amazing Spider-Man 2, come back to me and I'll have plenty to say. But yeah, for the first one, didn't really think much
Right.
of it.
Okay. That's fine. George.
But I feel like it was paving the way for a brilliant film, so I'll give it a pass on that one.
But you gave it 44
Good
though.
setup. No, I'm guessing what the critics
Oh,
gave
that's
it.
true.
That's not my
That is
score.
very true. Yeah. Okay. Right, George. Let's hear, because I need someone who actually has some kind of decent opinion on this film. Because I do like the Amazing Spider-Man more than I probably should. But yeah, let's hear your thoughts on it.
I think Emma Stone is, even though she does just play Emma Stone, the same Emma Stone she played in Easy A to be Gwen Stacy, I think she's perfect for this part. And she doesn't just seem like the love interest. She is actually like a fleshed out character, and I think she's actually better than Kirsten Dunst in
I'm
the
so
original.
pleased. I was going to say that, and I was really scared that people were going to judge me, but I do believe that she is a lot better than Kirsten Dunst.
She's so much better than MJ. And I don't know whether that's like the writing or the performance, but like both of it hand in hand. It's just so much better as a character. And the whole like kind of rom-commy vibe of this forbidden love, like Twilight, but then she discovers he's Spider-Man and he tells her the truth and everything's great for at least one film. I really liked it. I thought it was fantastic. I don't think it's better than the Sam Raimi trilogy. I think it's better than Spider-Man 3.
I agree.
I wouldn't go that far. I like Spider-Man 3.
Your opinions are wildly out there.
No, we had this conversation before. We've disputed either in person or on the podcast that Spider-Man 3 is the best of the Raimi trilogy.
Owen, did you eat the wrong kind of mushrooms in your meal today?
No, there'll be someone out there rating of right archive people. Go back and find it. It's either in the podcast somewhere or we've had it in person discussion. We've discussed this topic before.
Yeah, we've recorded every single conversation we've had outside the podcast as well. So we'll find the tapes somewhere. But wow, I did not expect that at all. That's really thrown me off. I can't believe you think Spider-Man 3 is the best one of the Raimi trilogy. That's crazy. I think everyone would disagree with that. Right. Well, I agree with George. I do think that they did really well with rebooting the Spider-Man franchise. They went a little bit darker, and a bit more serious in tone. And I think one of the main things that really works well for The Amazing Spider-Man is the chemistry between Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield. And reportedly at the time they were dating, which also seemed to happen in the other Spider-Man movie with Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland and Zendaya. So it's a running theme at the moment.
But if you were Andrew Garfield or Emma Stone or the other way around, and you were with that other person, they're two very attractive, charismatic people. Like, how would you not?
Are they married?
No, Emma Stone's married to someone else.
Were they married?
I don't think so.
No, they're together for a few years, but then I think after the whole Spider-Man thing ended, I do think that it works amazingly well because of Emma Stone's ability to kind of bring Gwen Stacy to life better than it was done in the previous Spider-Man films, and she works really well with with Andrew Garfield. So scores on board. So we had George with 59 and Owen with 44. So both went lower. I think it's 2 in a row now. Both incorrect. The Amazing Spider-Man is higher than The Help on 66.
Wow.
So higher than The Help, which is an Oscar-nominated movie.
That's mad. I thought critics wouldn't have liked because it loads of things were doing there. Ooh, it's this thing that you know and love, but grittier and more realistic. I thought they would have been like shitting all over that.
No. Apparently they clearly enjoyed The Amazing Spider-Man more than on average. Yes, got it,
Owen? I just wanted to do something for the sake of earlier on's argument. Can you put up the Metacritic score for The Amazing Spider-Man 2? Just so we can compare it to the first.
23.
53.
53. Yeah.
But I would also say that the user score on IMDb is 6.6, and for The Amazing Spider-Man is 6.9. So both the fans and the critics believe that the first one is better. But Owen, that is your opinion, and I will not diminish you anymore on that. But I would say the one time I can do it, you are incorrect. But let's move on to the next film. So I'm going to skip a couple of years. Can we have a
recap of the scores, please?
So recap of the scores. So 2 scoreless rounds. Owen is still in the lead with 5. George is on 4. So the third from last movie is the 2014 Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Another big Oscar movie starring Michael Keaton and Edward Norton and Emma Stone. So get your scores written down for that one, higher or lower than The Amazing Spider-Man on 66. So Birdman, if you haven't watched it, stars Michael Keaton in the leading role, who plays a washed-up superhero actor who's attempting to revive his fading career by writing, directing, and starring in a Broadway production directed by Alejandro Inarritu.
Write the theme tune, sing the theme
tune.
Exactly.
Michael Keaton's doing the whole lot. He's doing it all. Let's go. So I went with Owen first. So George, it's you first, I believe. Let's get your score. So it's higher or lower than The Amazing Spider-Man on 66?
I mean, way, way higher. 92.
92. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Owen, what have you got?
I fucking love this film.
I went high as well. And do you know what? I'm going to watch this film tomorrow. 87.
87?
You haven't seen it? I
haven't
thought
seen
this
it.
would be the kind of quirky, bizarre thing right up your street.
This has been on my backlog for years because Zuki loves Edward Norton and I love Michael Keaton, which sounds crazy because if I really loved Michael Keaton, I would have seen this film. But it's avoided me for years. And whenever I go to put a film on, I never think of it. I'll watch a film, I'll go scrolling after, and I'll think, shit, why didn't I watch it? I've seen every Michael Keaton film apart from this film.
Have you seen The Flash?
Which is shocking, isn't it? I've seen The Flash.
All right.
I've seen The Founder. That was good.
I really like The
McDonald's
Founder.
one.
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
There are some bits that I really do like about it.
Have you seen The Other Guys?
Oh, I love that, guys.
Can I just say, no, actually, going back, sorry to interrupt you, George. The conversation we had earlier about our generation's comedies, I'm throwing The Other Guys in there because that's possibly my favourite
Other
comedy
Guys
of all time.
is funnier than Superbad, definitely.
Oh,
yeah, 100%.
Might I add though, I think it's a different decade though. So
That's
if you was
spot.
going by
Yeah,
decades,
the Other Guys is
Yeah.
I think it's 2010.
yeah. But
Michael Keaton's best role.
well, I mean, wait until you see Birdman, because personally, I believe that this is Michael
Oh.
Keaton's. It's spectacular.
So good.
So just to get you a little bit more excited, Owen, this won Best Picture at the Oscars, Best Directing, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Michael Keaton, Edward Norton, and Emma Stone were all nominated in their respective categories.
I know.
So this is
I'm almost embarrassed to say I haven't seen it.
I mean, you're in for a treat because this is Emma Stone's first Oscar recognition. So this is a massive milestone for her in her career in 2014. So we've got your scores. So George, you've watched Birdman, so let's hear your thoughts on it. Let's get Owen excited.
I absolutely love it. Regardless of everything else about it, the fact that it is portrayed as like a one shot, it just tickles me in so many ways. Like the episode of The Bear that I've spoken about 1,000 times over.
1917.
Like I love these one. To be fair, I think that's why I spoke about the episode of The Bear. No, it can't have been because we did the. It doesn't matter. Anyway, like I love that approach to making a film. And the fact that it's like set within a theatre and it feels like a play, and all of this is just fantastic. I think it is so good, and it's like the first time I recognised Emma Stone not playing Emma Stone. Like she's some drug addict daughter. Like
how long is it?
Quite long, I think.
It's 2 hours, just under 2 hours.
Oh, just 2. Oh, fair.
Yes, an hour 59, and I think you're spot on with that, George. As well, I think this is, definitely the first film for Emma Stone where she's a little bit unrecognisable. Like, say she plays like a bit of a drug addict daughter of Michael Keaton, who kind of loathes him for how.
Spoilers.
Well, not giving anything away. This is known.
You learn that in the first second of meeting.
Yeah, you literally know this from the trailer as well.
Okay. I'm going to watch it tomorrow.
Yeah, you know it from the trailer. I'm not giving anything away, but it's a remarkable performance from Emma Stone. I think it's that one
from everyone.
Yeah, I think you were saying, Owen, about how much of someone was saying how much of a dickhead that Michael Keaton was in The Founder. Just wait until you see Edward Norton in Birdman. He's an absolute arsehole, but in such a good way. It's very. I suppose he's a pretentious arsehole in this, but it's brilliant. That's
so true to his real character.
Yeah, is he not a good person, Edward Norton? I love Edward Norton.
Oh, he's a massive arsehole. Everyone who works for him says he's a prick.
Don't everyone say that about George, though.
And here we are.
But in a lovely way.
But no, George, Owen, you haven't watched it, so I won't ask on your opinions on it. But just let us know what your thoughts are on it after you watch it tomorrow, because I'm super excited that you watch it for the first time.
You should do an Instagram live reveal of how you feel about Birdman.
I was going to say I can't wait to hear your star rating, but you don't give ratings to movies.
Yeah, famously does not rate films.
So we'll move on then. George is giving us that nice little rundown of his thoughts on that. So the reminder of the scores: George went with 92, Owen went with 87. So you're both right for being higher. We have another spot on. It's Owen Cox.
I quit.
Oh my god, I'm on fire.
This fucking podcast.
So that propels Owen to 8 points. George gets the 2 points.
I'm on for
Wait, how's he on 8?
Well, Owen has got 2 spot-ons.
Yeah, so
that's 6. Yeah, and then he got another ones where he got it, where he got the right higher or lower. But he'll get a 1 point. Yeah, and he got that twice.
Oh fuck!
You need to learn the rules, George.
But George, you only get that 1 point. That one because you're not the closest. So you just get the 1 point for being right.
Thank
so
you.
going into the just to rub it in, just going to the penultimate round. Owen's in a very good position to win 2 podcast episodes in a row with 8 points, and George is on 5. So let's go on to the next film on the list. Is something that has been brought up. Skipping a couple of films on her list to go to what is a personal favourite of mine, La La Land. So let's get your scores written down for La La Land.
What was the last score? Just in my brain.
Oh, sorry. Last score was 87.
7.
Thank you.
The one that Owen got spot on.
Yeah. Thank you. Just
Second one of the game.
So for people who haven't seen La La Land, directed by Damien Chazelle, whose first film was Whiplash. Another music-based film. La La Land navigates the careers of 2 people, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, in Los Angeles. Emma Stone, an actress, and Ryan Gosling, a pianist, who both fall in love while attempting to reconcile their aspirations for the future. Also stars J.K. Simmons as well, who is also in Whiplash. So let's go to Owen. He is first. So let's get your score. Owen, what have you gone with for La La Land?
2 Fat Ladies, 88.
88. So he's gone higher by 1. And George, what have you gone with?
I've gone higher, 91.
91. Okay, so you're both very close.
Owen,
Owen,
to the 90s.
Owen, let's get your thoughts on La La Land. Is it as much of a personal favourite as yours as is mine? I love La La Land a lot.
Well, Ian, I have to tell you, I've not
Oh,
seen
what a fucking surprise!
What you would say? Seen it.
Wait, I haven't said that for a while.
You've done very well, Ian.
Thank you very much.
Have a pat on your bald head.
What other musicals are there? I've seen Grease. I've seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Not seen that. Is that the one with the plants?
Dream Girls. That's the one with the plant, yeah.
Green Girls?
Dream Girls.
I was just I've seen Mean Girls.
Chicago? Have you seen
Nope.
Chicago?
Not seen that one.
It's a great musical.
Owen hasn't watched La La Land, so we're going to just skip over.
Yeah, I was
Owen.
also going to say none of the other musicals that Owen decided to list.
But I was about to say, though, quite surprised by how many musicals that you have watched, Owen, especially some older classics. Is La La Land one that actually tempts you to watch it in any way, or are you not bothered by it?
Not bothered.
Anyway, want to give me a reason why?
Don't know, it just looks a bit shit. And it stole the award from Moonlight, didn't it? Do you remember the Oscars debacle?
Yes, yeah, it's a famous.
No, because they gave it back.
They should have given it to Moonlight.
It
should have just accepted their mistake.
No, they did.
I mean, it wasn't their fault though. It was the announcer's fault who read the card wrong.
Didn't La La Land get called out, but
Yeah.
Moonlight actually won? So
Yeah,
Moonlight did win.
Oh,
Yeah.
So Moonlight stole it from La La Land.
Well, they should have just stuck with
I
the
mean, they were
original
the
decision.
official winners. Yeah, La La Land was giving
Yeah.
us the incorrect.
Are you
winner.
sure?
They went up. Yeah,
Yeah,
I watched
because
that.
Emma Stone
I watched
went
that
up,
live.
didn't she?
Yeah, I think the whole lot were basically up there on the stage, and it was chaos. I remember because I watched the Oscars live that year, and I think it must have been about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was watching it with a group of friends, and I was absolutely flagging, and I was so ready just to go home because I was so tired. And they announced that La La Land was the winner. I was like, right, that's it. I'm packing up. I'm getting all my bits. I'm going to get my shoes on and just go. And then we're like, whoa, what's going on? And I just suddenly just woke up. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? And they was like, no, Moonlight's the actual winner. And they showed the card of Moonlight. So yeah, it's got some interesting history behind La La Land now with the Oscars because of the whole Moonlight situation.
Yeah, I thought it won.
Oh, well, they said it did, but it didn't win. They read out.
Do you watch the Oscars live every year?
No, I haven't for the last couple of years, but there was a point where I think I watched it about 5 or 6 years in a row live.
I was going to ask
But
if you watched the Chris Rock
I can't hack it. No, but I wish I did though.
Yeah.
What a sad little life, Jane.
George, I've got a feeling you have watched La La Land.
I fucking love La La Land. It's up there.
Yes.
So Whiplash is possibly my favourite film of all time. And La La Land is up in my top 5.
Ooh, I didn't realise that.
I love La La Land. Amy, she doesn't hate it, but she doesn't love it.
I
and
adore La
I'm
La Land.
obsessed with it. Oh, I can't believe you haven't seen it. Like the ending is what puts Amy off it, and I won't spoil it here, but I personally think it works really well. And I think Ryan Gosling is incredible, and the music is incredible, and the way it's shot is incredible. And that scene where Ryan Gosling's playing piano, Emma Stone is dancing, and the camera's just whipping around between the two of them. It's the same kind of style of shot that the director used in Whiplash. I can never pronounce his name, so I'm just going to refer to him as the director. Damien Chazelle?
Damien Chazelle?
Is it Damien? I feel like it's like
Damien Chazelle. Chazelle.
Yeah. And yeah, like the whole whipping the camera around happened in Whiplash in the final kind of piece. And it's just so good. And just watching the behind the scenes of Damien Chazelle tapping the camera operator when to turn in time to the music is just beautiful. Such a good film.
I'm going to give you a little trivia question then, George, and Owen, you can get involved as well. Do you know who the original two were? Because Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone originally dropped out due to scheduling conflicts, and they did recast them for a time, and then those two then also dropped out. It's the person who was playing Ryan Gosling's role was in Whiplash.
Miles Teller,
and Emma Watson was also going to be Emma Stone's character. But then, famously, Emma Stone dropped out of doing Little Women, and Emma Watson took her role in Little Women. So they did a little bit of a swap around of Little Women and La La Land. Obviously, a couple of years apart, but they were doing
just
respective roles.
As a side note, Emma Stone would have been wasted as whoever Emma Watson played in Little Women. Like, that would have been such a waste of Emma Stone. Damn.
Yeah, exactly. So a little bit of trivia there. But George, I'm so glad, George. I don't think I've ever talked to you about that, actually, about La La Land. About how much I love it.
Another, like, the opening song, the transition from, like, I think it's one of the best opening shots in terms of setting the tone of the world with this big musical number in gridlocked traffic. And then kind of going from that where none of the main characters are involved in it at all, and the camera just pans down to Ryan Gosling in his car, and it's like, great, now I'm in. What a great opener.
I'd say, like you said, it doesn't feature any of the main characters. It has this massive musical number, and you're kind of like, wow, what a way to start. And like you said, it's just like, right, now we're starting. This is the start of the story now. We just had that massive number, which is incredible.
So good.
But the musical sequences between Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone throughout are all just incredibly choreographed as well.
Yeah.
Also, it is a film that was loved by the Academy. It won 6 Oscars as well, Owen. So just any other reason why maybe you should watch it. Emma Stone did win her first Oscar for this for a leading role. Damien Chazelle became the youngest winner for Best Director at the age of 32. Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, Best Song for City of Stars, and also, as mentioned, famously nominated and winner of Best Picture of the Year for about 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and then famously taken away. But this is I'm not typically, I'd say, like a musical lover, but La La Land just like unleashed this like hidden love for musicals. I'd always loved Grease as a young kid, but La La Land just like propelled it to like, wow, I can love musicals and they can be amazing films.
Yes, Owen.
I have a musical to recommend that I think you would enjoy. My personal favourite. Have you seen the animated Hercules film?
Yes.
Brilliant musical.
I thought you were going to say fair. Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, another musical that I've seen, actually. Yeah, add that to the list.
You always
Next
love
up
talking
is
about
the musical episode.
Right, so let's move on then.
Film.
Yes, it is a good film. Right, so Owen, you went with 88.
Yep.
George, you went with 91. So you're both right with it being higher. No spot on, but George is the closest. La La Land's actually on 94.
Take your
So
pity
George
point.
gets
deserves every point.
George gets to 2 points and goes on to 7. Owen goes on to 9. So George can still win with a spot on if Owen gets his incorrect. That's the only way George can win.
It has to be
but
above
he can-
94. It's over, Ian. Come on, don't give him hope. This is rapt.
Well, we don't know the last film on the list, but we will get to that one now. So the last film on the list, so it's still very open between you two, is The Favourite, one that we did mention a little bit earlier before, the Yorgos Lanthimos movie. I believe from 2021. I will we'll just make sure that's right. I might be incorrect. Oh no, sorry, way out. 2018, 2 years after The Favourite. So get your scores down. So synopsis for The Favourite. In the early 18th century England, status quo at the court is upset when a new servant arrives and endears herself to frail Queen Anne, played by Oscar-winning Olivia Colman. So let's get your scores on the board. Owen, I believe you're first.
I am going lower. I'm going with 71.
Okay, so it's going lower, 71. George, let's hear your score.
I had no choice. I went higher, 95.
Oh, okay. So that's going to make
Bold
things
strategy.
spicy. So, Owen, is this a hat trick of movies you haven't watched?
What's it called?
Good start.
The Favourite.
Isn't that a Cardigan song? Oh no, that's Favourite Game.
Yeah, Favourite Game about the Cardigans.
Yeah,
Which
no,
famous we danced, me and Zuki danced to at George's 30th birthday party a couple of months ago.
I'm just thinking of other favourites.
We vibed to it.
I was crying.
Doesn't matter. I'm telling the story because Zuki won't listen to the podcast, so it doesn't matter.
No,
I can make up anything really.
Won't listen to the podcast, won't promote the podcast,
Yeah.
but she will come in and win.
Took
Yeah,
ages
she'll
to
come in and win and just
rehearse
walk
her
off.
entrance as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her outro.
So this is another one, Owen. So at least three out of the 8 you haven't watched.
See, this is why I have a suggestion for. We'll wait and see who wins this one. I mean, that's me. Come on, get in there, back to back. I have a suggestion for a victory prize, for a yearly prize, I think it should be. I think weekly would
Okay.
kind of take away and diminish a lot of your responsibility as a host. But I think there should be a yearly prize, and I'm going to unveil it once I've won.
He's very
about-
confident, George.
2 minutes. So what's your score, George? 95?
Yeah, my score is 95, and I too
Losing
haven't
score?
seen it.
Oh, for fuck's
I think Olivia Colman is a phenomenal actor in everything. So I am just hoping, and in my head, I think that this was either critically panned or loved, and I originally put a much lower score, thinking it had been panned, and everyone was expecting it to be this critical masterpiece. But obviously, I have to go tactical, so 95 it was.
It was nominated for 10 Oscars.
Bloody
How
hell.
many did it win?
It won 1, which was Olivia Colman.
Right.
Nomination for Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz in the same category of actress in a supporting role. Obviously, you both haven't watched it. When you look at the poster and you hear about you hear the synopsis, maybe you watch the trailer, you're thinking this is another boring fucking period drama movie, which not a lot's going to happen. But it's a period drama which is completely flipped on its head and is batshit fucking crazy, and has
Really?
yeah, it's nuts. I don't know if you watched
It's
The
interesting.
Lobster or Killing of a Sacred Deer, Dog Tooth, so the same director, Greek director, and his films are a bit bonkers. Emma Stone is amazing in this as well, and it just goes to show that her career is just constantly gotten better and better and better and better. Her, Rachel Weisz, and Olivia Colman are just this like deadly trio in this film. It's all about them, and they are all incredible. Olivia Colman obviously won the Oscar, amazing in that, but they're all just as good as each other, I believe. So it is one that you both haven't watched, but I would say definitely watch it. female power. The trio of three women are all absolutely fantastic. Watch it purely for that alone, but the film itself is actually really, really good. So we'll move on very quickly to the last. Well, this is the last one now. So George you went with 95, so you went higher, and Owen went lower with 71. So let's just get the scores on, so I can get right. So I've got the final scores. So the winner of episode 12, Emma Stone, is Owen Cox with 12 points to George's 7. So 2 episodes in a row. George's losing streak continues. Owen, this is two wins in a row.
Get before
sorry.
Forget it.
So I always forget that part. 91. 91. Still very high.
Oh, that's got his thing.
Really.
Let's hear it.
He's devastated. He can't even speak. He's just stepped away from the camera. Is he going to bed? He's to turn his camera off.
It's just me and you now, Owen.
What's this? What's that the losing streak up to now? 4?
Well, the last time that George won was in episode 9.
Don't include the lost episode.
I do, mentally.
Officially, Owen, the last time George won was episode 9, where he won 14-8. But this is 11-7, so a lot closer. But let's just quickly, what's the total wins?
Oh, irrelevant.
No. I think that's kind of irrelevant. I believe with Owen. I don't want to take it away.
You're only as good as your last victory.
Shine away. Owen, bathe in the glory of winning episode 12. 2 wins in a row. How does that feel to beat George again?
Feels mega, and I've fulfilled my New Year's resolution already by starting strong to win every episode this year. Do you want my suggestion for a film?
Yes, please. We'd love to hear your suggestion for the people.
I wrote it down earlier. Wesley Snipes, Undisputed.
Undisputed. So tell us a little bit about that if people don't know what it is.
I wrote it down before I forgot. It's a film about Wesley Snipes. The other guy. I can't remember his name. He's the guy. Is he Marcellus Wallace in Pulp Fiction? Put up Undisputed on Google.
Is it Ving Rhames?
Yeah, he's Marcellus Wallace, right?
Yes.
He is the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
And he is sent to prison where he fights a guy who has been in prison since he was a teenager, but he was a boxing prodigy. No, not a teenager. I think he was a young man, but he was sent to jail for life. And they fight in prison, and it's just a good film. I just randomly thought of it earlier.
Have you seen that? No, I haven't actually.
It's a good film. It's worth watching. I think it's quite short as well.
Yeah, it's an hour 36. So I haven't heard of it. But I do like those kind of movies. So
have you seen New Jack City?
That's my watch list. I have not. No.
You've not seen New Jack City?
No.
Have you seen Passenger 57?
No.
Oh my God! You lot mock me relentlessly, and you haven't seen any Wesley Snipes films. You've seen the Blade films, right?
Oh, I've seen Demolition Man.
Oh, you lot need to get your priorities straight. I mean, this is just unforgivable. Is that the only one you've seen?
No, Blade 2, Blade 3.
I mean, we've all seen Blade by default. It was the very first superhero film we saw as kids.
I feel like I have watched more Wesley Snipes movies. I've not watched New Jack City. I haven't even watched White Men Can't Jump.
Wow.
Which is bad. Yeah, there's a lot of Expendables 3. I've watched that. We're not doing a Wesley Snipes episode on Emma Stone. But we'll cut that all out anyway. But thank you very much, Owen, for your recommendation. We're going to wrap up now. I hope you enjoyed the new format. Sorry, you just cut me off.
Wrap up, I think this is like one of the highest scoring rounds or episodes that we've had in terms of like there's been a 90, 80s, like apart from the Spider-Man and Superbad, it's all been pretty I mean, to be fair, Superbad was in the 70s. Like, it's all pretty up there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, the lowest one that we had was 62. And yeah, the highest one was 94. We've got 94, 91, 87, 76, 73.
That's a good filmography. Emma Stone is a powerhouse.
Yeah, she is a powerhouse. I think that says a lot about I think her choices of films as well. She has had a couple, one or two here or there that haven't done particularly well, but I think she's learned quite well from that, and she is building a very solid filmography, which I think everyone can enjoy. So thank you all so much for listening. That was our 12th episode and our first of 2024. So I hope that you enjoyed the new year of our new episode. You can find us on all platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. Have I missed anything there, George?
I think that is it.
I think that's the ones. So search The Rating Is Right, download, follow us, rate us 5 stars on all the platforms that you use.
Tell your friends and family.
Yeah, tell your friends and family. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Rating Is Right. You can message us as well at theratingisright@gmail.com if you want to email us like old school. Thank you all so much for listening. You can also buy merch as well if you would like to. We have t-shirts that are inspired by our episodes, which is on Tmill. Easiest way to find that is we do have a Linktree link on our bio on Instagram. And then, yeah, if you'd like to buy a t-shirt, that would be greatly appreciated. It goes towards us putting some money into buying Owen a computer course so he can learn how to record or buy him a new microphone. With that being said, thank you all so much for listening. We hope to hear from you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Ciao.
It's the rating. It's the rating. Rating. It's the rating. It's the rating.
The Rating Is Right podcast is hosted by Ian Crow and co-hosted by George Robinson and Owen Cox. The show is edited by George Robinson with music by Will Butler. You can find the podcast on Instagram under the handle The Rating Is Right, or you can contact the hosts on their email address, theratingisright@gmail.com, if you have any suggestions or want to discuss your thoughts on previous episodes. Thanks for listening.